what's up, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's video is going to be me telling you guys what to expect on your second period. Basically like a guide to the period after your first one, because honestly I feel like people put so much emphasis on like, oh my god, your first period, what to expect on your first period, like okay, let's prepare you for your first period, a guide to your first period. But no one ever talks about like, okay, you just finished your first period, or like you just got your second period, now what do I do? Like what do I expect on like my second period? Because honestly, some could say that a second period is harder because it shows you like now you're gonna have to deal with this pretty much every month. And so it's definitely important to like after that whole shock and like whirlwind after your first period, be really prepared for your second period, like when your body's just starting to get into the swing of things. I actually did do a whole video on what to expect when you get your first period. I'll link that video right here. But anyway, this is a what to expect when you get your second period. And so yeah, I really don't want to talk anymore. I just want to tell you guys what to expect on your second period and basically just give you guys a guide to the period that you will get after your first one, obviously your second period. So yeah, let's get into the video. So before I start telling you like what to expect and everything like that, I just wanted to tell you that everyone is so completely different, and what I say in this video, you might like have something completely different happen to you for your second period. Basically like what I say in this video will not apply to everyone, so like don't use what I say in this video as like this is exactly what's going to happen to me. Anyway, with that said, let's get into the first thing that you should expect when you get your second period. So first of all, it might not come exactly a month after your first one. When I got my first period, it was on November 6, 2020, and then I ended up getting my second period on December 9th, 2020. And so it obviously didn't come like 4 weeks after, like exactly. Like a typical regular cycle is 28 days or 4 weeks exactly. I think that cycle was like 30 or 31 days, and I was like really convinced that my period would just be irregular the second I didn't get it on that 28th day. However, everyone's cycle length is going to be different. It might even come early. Some people's cycles last 21 days and some people's cycles can last up to 40 days. It's so different. Everyone is so different. So if you don't get your period on like the 28th day of your cycle, and by the way, you start counting your cycle on the first day like of your period. So like for example, let's say you got your first period on November 1st and then you got your second period on November 28th, then cycle day 1 for you would be November 1st, and then cycle day 1 like for your next cycle, like your second ever cycle, that would be on November 28th. It basically starts on the day you get your period, like the day the flow starts. So just don't expect like it to come right away like clockwork, especially in the beginning when things are just so irregular with your body. Like you cannot expect your period to be regular at all in the beginning when your body's still figuring everything out. Honestly, I've heard from the internet and also from my gynecologist that you can be irregular in your menstrual cycles for up to 5 years after you get your first period. Some people are different. Some people are regular right from the start, but not everyone. So just don't expect it to come like right on the 28th day. Like don't get worried if that doesn't happen to you. Just keep being on the lookout. Keep being prepared, of course. The second thing to expect is that it might be heavier. And this is honestly a little scary, but this did happen to me. It really happened to me because first periods are often light. I mean, as I keep saying, everyone is so different. Some people have like really heavy first periods, but for me, my first period was like 3 days of like moderate bleeding, and then it kind of went away into brown, and then I got my second period, and that's when I started learning what a heavy flow was really like. And this is just because like your body's really getting into the swing of things, as I keep saying. I mean, obviously if your period starts out light, that's kind of like, just imagine your uterus is going like, okay, we're starting to have a period, we don't need to shed too much blood yet. But then on your second period, it like gets used to it. Like it's like, okay, this is what it's gonna be like, or it might not be like what that's gonna be like. Like after my second period, I was like, okay, now every single period I have is going to be heavy. But your cycle varies so much in the beginning. It's literally insane. So please realize that things are going to be weird, and your first period might be super light, and then your second period might be like super heavy, and then your third period's kind of somewhere in the middle, and then your fourth period's like really heavy again, and like it just keeps going like that. But I would definitely say that it might be heavier like your second period, just because your body's getting more used to having a period. So definitely have overnight pads and like maxi pads ready for it to be heavy, because as I said, first periods are often light, so you might like have your first period and then be like,
oh, my periods aren't even really that heavy, I don't need maxi pads, I don't need to wear that stuff.
But then your second period will come and surprise you. At least that's what happened with me. So I definitely just wanted to warn you guys that it might be heavier, or, and this is the third thing to expect, it might be lighter. I know this seems kind of contradictory, but this just supports the whole everyone is different thing that I keep saying. Some people have really heavy first periods and then it's like super light on their second period, and they're like, is something wrong? Like I barely even had any bleeding. Some people have really light first periods and then they just have another light period, and that could just be for you. I mean, some people only bleed for like 1 or 2 days and then just have brown for like the rest of the week. Everyone is so different. Also, it all depends on like hormones and stuff like that. So like if your body doesn't produce enough hormones like to make your uterine lining shed that much, then you might not bleed as much that month, and you might just be light in the beginning, like because you had a heavy first period or something like that. There's just so many factors. And of course, other factors that can make you have like light and irregular periods are like excessive stress, not eating enough, eating too much, exercising way too much, not really exercising at all. Like there's just so much that can really affect that. But if your second period is super light, then you really don't need to worry about that. That's just like what's normal for your body, and it might keep being that way. You might just be lucky and like have have light periods, or when you get your third period, that might be when it gets super heavy. You just can't judge based on other people and like what you hear online even, because everyone is going to be so different, and what is right for your body will be right for your body, if that makes any sense. The fourth thing that you really need to expect when you get your second period is that it might last longer. For me, as I said, my first period lasted like such a short amount of time. It was like 3 days of bleeding and then it was just brown. My second period lasted 8 days of it was just so shocking to me, because like I didn't think it was ever gonna be like that. Like people can have their period from like anywhere from like 2 to 10 days, and like mine was like almost 10 days. Like there were like 2 days at the end then with like brown, and I was just so weirded out. But the reason for this is, as I said, your body's just getting used to having a period. So like when you have your second period and like your body is already used to having had a period, it'll be like, okay, now we can like do it for longer. And of course, obviously, like if there's more blood and like uterine lining to be shed, like as I said, if it's a heavier second period, it also might last longer. But just really make sure to be on the lookout for that and stock up on extra pads, because like if your first period is super light and you only go through, I don't know, like 10 pads, and then your second period you need to like double that amount or even like triple that amount, you might not have enough pads in the house. And this has honestly happened to me before. So definitely make sure that you have enough pads in your house so that you're not caught unprepared, like when you're on day 5 of your second period and then like you need to change your pad and you like don't have a pad, if you know what I'm talking about. Just be prepared, because it's always smart to be prepared, especially since your second period might last longer. The fifth thing that you should really expect when you get your second period, and this one was so true to me, like I cannot even express to you how true to me this was, you might experience a lot more period pain. I mean, for me, on my first period, I think I woke up with cramps one morning and then they like went away, and that was like really pretty much it. But for my second period, I had actual cramps. I had actual like weakness around my uterus. I had like actual like back pain and like leg pain, just all that like period pain like down there. And I was like kind of scared, because I was like, I didn't have that for my first period. But as I said, I feel like a broken record, like I just keep saying this, but your body is finally getting used to having a period, even though it's like just your second period. This is like the period when your body's like really establishing its routine. So like if your first period is super like light and like not bothersome at all, and like you don't even have any cramps or anything like that, you might be like, oh my god, I'm so lucky, I'm gonna have like easy periods for the rest of my life. That's exactly what I thought, and I was very wrong. My periods are very painful, and it can get even more painful like after your second period. Like you might not even have period pain on your second period, and then on your third or fourth or fifth period you're like, ow, what are these cramps? But of course, like if you have really bad period pain, like that's not normal or anything like that, then of course see your doctor. I'm just telling you, be on the lookout for experiencing more period pain when you're on your second period, just because your body, like I don't know how to explain this, but like your body has already gone through a period. It's already practiced one, so like now it can really like get in there and like give you those cramps, if you know what I'm talking about. And it also has to do like if you have a heavier flow on your second period, because if you didn't know, the cramps are actually uterine contractions, like making the uterus kind of like a slingshot, like where it's like that's kind of like an honest depiction of it. So like the more blood there is to be shed, the more cramps you're gonna have, if that makes any sense. And the next thing that you should expect on your second period is that you might just feel worse in general. My first period, it was tiring and it was kind of like a hard period, but like to be honest, thinking back, it wasn't that bad. Like I wasn't that moody, and like I didn't feel that tired and weak. But like then when I got my second period, I literally just wanted to lie in bed, eat dark chocolate, and watch Grey's Anatomy and Gilmore Girls on Netflix. I just felt so sick. I felt horrible. I felt like I do now, like when I get my period. And again, this is just because like your body is now like showing you like what period symptoms might be like, without like kind of like just the adrenaline and like shock of your first period. Like this is what periods are going to be like, because periods really are not that much fun. So if you do start to feel worse, like seriously moody, just having tons of mood swings, or just feeling like a lot of new cravings, or like feeling really weak and tired and like all those PMS symptoms, and like even if you have more PMS before your second period, that is so normal, because it is your second period and your body is just getting more and more used to having a period. But of course, if you have like really excessive menstrual symptoms, then definitely see your doctor. This next thing that you should expect like when you get your second period is kind of horrifying, and I wish I knew this. You might see clots come out of you this time. My first period was just blood, and then I got my second period and I still remember it so well. Like I wiped and there was like a dark red, it was like almost black, like circle that came out of me, and I was like I like called my mom into the bathroom, because like we're really close and everything like that, and I showed her and she said it's so normal, and like it's so normal to have clots because blood is not the only thing that comes out of you like when you have a period. Of course, if they're like huge clots like the size of your palm, or like even a little smaller than that, like that much, then definitely call your doctor if you're concerned. But I just wanted to warn you, because I did not know this before I got my second period. I barely knew clots were a thing, and it was horrifying. Like it literally looked like I birthed like a dark red ball out of myself, which I kind of did. Just definitely be on the lookout for that. And like if you see it, like if you see like a dark reddish kind of small circle that like honestly has some like dimension to it, that is a clot. Don't be concerned, just wipe it, flush it, get on with your day. And the last thing that you should really be on the lookout for when you get your second period is something that resonates so true to my heart because I wish I could go back to myself like after I finish my second period and tell myself this. Don't expect your third period to be regular. What basically happened with me is, as I said, I got my first period on November 6th and then my second on December 9th, so that was pretty regular, right? I was like, oh my gosh, yay, my periods are regular. Now I'm gonna get my third period like in the same amount of time that it took for me to get my second period. I ended up getting my third period at the end of March 2021. It took 4 months for it to come back after my second period, even though I thought like after I had 2 regular periods then it would be regular. Do not think that. I mean, it might happen to you, but I'm just saying, like, don't have hopes that once you have 2 regular periods you're gonna have another regular period, because as I said, periods are so unpredictable and so irregular in the beginning, and just because you have like even 3 regular periods it doesn't mean your next one's gonna be regular, especially as I said in the beginning, like when your body's trying to figure everything out like with having a period. So I just wish I could stress this enough, like, don't expect it to be regular. Do not spend your nights worrying about like why your period has not showed up yet, like your third period, because that's what I did the rest of December and then January and February and then like most of March 2021. It was horrible and I was just so stressed about it all the time, and I honestly think that like the stress is a huge part of like why it didn't come so much faster than it should have. But yeah, don't be concerned. I think I did hear once from my doctor that if you haven't gotten your period in like 6 to 9 months then you should probably see a doctor. It is probably normal just because like if you're in the beginning of having periods then it should be normal. But yeah, like if you haven't gotten your period like over, I would even say like 4 to 5 months, maybe do go check with your doctor, but most of the time it really is going to be just completely normal. Anyway guys, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching it. I really hope that this video was able to help you in preparing and like knowing what to expect when you get your second period, because like honestly maybe it's just me, but like I feel like on YouTube everyone's like, oh my god, your first period, because like obviously that is something that is a little more like momentous and like something to prepare for, but like after your first period I feel like then like YouTubers and like anyone who helps out with that kind of stuff just kind of leaves you in the dark. Like, now what when I get my second period? Like there's barely any videos on YouTube like about your second period. It's all really just about your first period. So I really hope that this video was able to give you some new information and really help you out with knowing what to expect for your second period. And so yeah, before you leave, please like this video, and if you made it to the end of this video, comment down below second period survival, because the whole goal of this video was honestly just to like kind of help you know like how to survive and like what to be on the lookout for to survive your second period. And also comment down below like when you got your first period, because I am assuming that if you clicked on this video like you've already had your first period or something like that. So definitely like comment down below when you got your first period, or if you haven't got your first period yet, when you think you're gonna get your first period, or like if you're on your second period, definitely comment down below like your experience like dealing with that right now. And also please subscribe to my YouTube channel, because if you did not know already, I make so many other period videos on my channel. This is not the only one. I actually have a whole period playlist on my channel that has like over 30 videos in it at this point, so definitely go binge that playlist like if you need some more period advice and period tips and just period guidance and like relatability in general. And yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching it, and I love you guys. Bye!